Hello everyone, and welcome to my first video game review. I'm not going to waste any time, so let's go ahead and just jump right into it. The rest from here on out is all the facts and opinions I can tell you about Star Ocean 4: The Last Hope. I do have the game. This is what the case looks like. There may be a few spoilers, but nothing too major, so proceed with caution. The Star Ocean franchise is one of the most underappreciated and unheard of Japanese RPGs, it seems. Nobody I know ever seems to know what I'm talking about when I bring up these games. These games are about as ancient as Final Fantasy goes, and ever developing in art style and graphics. The cool thing about Star Ocean, like Final Fantasy, is that you can play any of the games out of order. Every game has its own individual story. I've also played Star Ocean 2 and 3, which I also have. This is 2, and it's also known as the second story. And this is 3, also known as Till the End of Time. But the most recent one I've completed that's fresh in my mind is Star Ocean 4: The Last Hope. As far as I know, Star Ocean 1 was solely released in Japan, at least that's what I've been told. If you're looking for a solid JRPG to play, but you're a bit skeptical of what's any good, I genuinely recommend delving into the Star Ocean series. They all come as console games on PlayStation. You'll notice most of my reviews will be PlayStation games. A little bit more about all the Star Ocean games I've played. The neat thing about them is they alternate between sci-fi and fantasy realms. You get the best of both worlds in every game to satisfy both sides of your inner nerd. They also all have some connections and similarities, while still being strictly their own unique game. Some of the fun aspects to the games include item creation, where you get to make your own armor, weaponry, healing items, and food, as well as PAs, which are also called private actions, where you trigger certain events to determine the unique ending you get, as well as influencing what playable characters join your party. You choose your own path and make your own story develop. The game has a battle transition when you enter a fight, but once you run into an enemy, it's a free-for-all, where you can switch between characters at will and control who you like. This holds true for all Star Ocean games that I've played. Star Ocean: The Last Hope, which we will call Star Ocean 4 from now on, starts you as a blonde named Edge Maverick. He is a part of a space exploration program, referred to as the SRF, to colonize Earth beyond the stars after a massive war all but destroyed our planet. The game gets into the action fairly quickly. The first planet you land on, Eos, quickly goes south as you're attacked by giant insect monsters. Several people are injured or killed from your crew of the Calnus, a very important ship throughout the game. Later, after discovering the existence of extraterrestrials, you become the captain of the Calnus. This is a very unique and interesting role for a main character in these games. I was very happily surprised to hear I get to be the captain of a ship. The crew starts small, being just Rainy, your childhood friend and love interest later on, and Face, an old Darian, an alien species, who comes to your aid on Eos. It's more than amazing to watch your crew expand and fill the ship as you play the game and cater to each individual planet's storyline. The sheer amount of diversity in your crew could almost be referred to as, well, a bunch of misfits, I'd say. Seeing all the alien races joined together for a common goal is simply epic. The only complaint I have about this is that they absolutely have no playable characters that are of color. But that's kind of to be expected of a Japanese game. The story is well developed, but in some parts seems a tad rushed. Certain planets that you meet crew members on are short-lived. Never in a Star Ocean game have I seen so many planets either become destroyed completely, infected by disease, or have outright genocidal wars. It's almost too much for the brain and heart to handle and process. The whole game is an emotional roller coaster. So many beloved characters go through emotional turmoil, and too many to count wind up dead. If you're going to play this game, prepare yourself. Every Star Ocean game it has death and sadness, but they took it to a whole new level in the 4th installment. More about the characters. There's a very unique variety. It's impossible to not find at least one playable character to relate to. Here's some examples of personalities. There's the comic relief, the cute sweet girl love interest, the epic badass creepy guy with a sad past, the bubbly innocent carefree lovable dope, the very serious and dedicated intelligent types, the innocent little girl with a stubborn attitude, the sexy strong-willed woman, and of course, Edge being the heroic and determined main character with a little bit of a childish side. Too many personalities and too many characters to fully describe, so play for yourself and discover each one's story and background. To touch on more aspects of the game, rather than the story itself so I don't give away too many spoilers, my favorite things about this game in particular will surely be yours as well. If the fact that you're a spaceship's captain isn't enough to draw your attention, just take a look at the character designs. They're incredibly detailed and beautiful. Each costume showcases the character's personality well. From a cosplayer's point of view, the complicated costumes may quickly become cosplay goals. The graphics and scenery within the game are breathtaking. It may not be perfected as it is a PS3 game rather than PS4, but to look back at the previous Star Ocean games, Star Ocean 2 being nearly Game Boy Color-esque, and the chunky angles of Star Ocean 3, it's amazing to see the improvement of each game. I, personally, am in love with this art style. Every character is beyond beautiful. I know there's a Star Ocean 5 as well, which I have yet to play, but looking at the pictures from it online, I much prefer the art of the game that I'm playing compared to that one, and any other Star Ocean game, really. Some parts of the game that are unique to this particular Star Ocean and are in the previous ones. For one, the leveling system is different. In Star Ocean 3, you manually added to your own MP, HP, defense, etc. Each time you leveled up, you have more points to add to whichever category you please. In this game, every time you level up, you receive a good chunk of experience in each category automatically, but the SP, the points used to customize, are used to increase the power of your symbology, which is magic use, special skills, and creation skills. There's a lot more room for customization, and you regularly gain more skills as you level up. It's really cool to see all the skills you gain over time. Another way to learn certain skills is to buy books in town. You can give certain skills to certain characters and level those skills up with SP as well. Another uniquely Star Ocean 4 aspect is the collecting. As you're on the road to defeat enemies and level yourself up, you run into certain designated spots where you can collect things. You can harvest and mine. By doing so, you collect materials for creation, which I'll touch on next, and usable items for on the battlefield. For one, you have to collect ingredients for recipes for any items you intend to make, which gets a little tedious since most of the items needed for, say, that special armor recipe you're eyeing, cannot be found on the field. You have to find that one certain store on that one certain planet that sells that exact ingredient. Again, tedious. It is kind of fun creating new recipes. You put your crew members in groups of 3 maximum, depending on what skills they have in common for creation, and then let them brainstorm their own recipes. It's neat to see what they come up with. In Star Ocean 3, your creation system is very randomized with a lot of room for failure. You set them up in groups just like for how you set them up in recipe creation in Star Ocean 4. But the groups of in common abilities actually physically create the item in Star Ocean 3 rather than a recipe. I prefer that method because you get your results much quicker, but there is a few upsides to Star Ocean 4's creation system. For one, unlike the previous game, it does not cost you money, which they call full in the Star Ocean universe. To create the actual item in Star Ocean 3, every time you fail, which is random, it will suck more and more full out of your pocket. In forced creation methods, not only does it not do that, but once you have the ingredients for the recipe, you cannot fail at the actual creation. You kind of have to weigh the differences and decide which method you prefer. I personally am willing to sacrifice the full for more immediate results and less hassle. I wish they'd somehow combine both methods to come up with the perfect creation system. Something I'd also like to note about the creating aspect is they don't even guide you at all as to how to get started like they do in the previous game. You're on your own to discover that. Basically, there's a room aboard your ship where you can create things. You launch the interface and talk to Welch, who is a non-playable character who assists you on your journey, and she teaches you. This character is wild and unpredictable and slightly annoying, so watch out for those random weird cutscenes when you go to create. I really have enjoyed playing this game, but I learned my lesson quickly on how to go about playing in the future. Grinding is essential in this game. If you do not spend a significant chunk of the game simply battling to level up with random field monsters, you're barely going to scrape by. Even on Earth mode, which is easy level, the bosses are hard, extremely difficult, so you want to be as prepared as possible. I won't lie, I didn't level as much as I should have for most bosses, and I spent an hour and a half battling one particular boss, who wasn't even close to the ending boss. It was very frustrating and almost made me give up the game, so again, grind. The party I chose to focus on Once you have all playable characters are as follows. Sarah. She is the best healer you're going to get. She's awesome and will focus solely on healing. Though Limmel, Edge, and Miria all possess healing, they won't do it often. They'll let you die. She is a necessity once you get her. Edge, not just because he's the main character, but he is genuinely powerful. He is great for controlling to get a grasp of the game, easiest to fight with, and best for getting chain combos to level up your bonus board, which will give you extra experience, full, and other items. Arubat. He's just a badass. He is probably the strongest character that you get, at least in my experience, and he does more damage and is also more fun to control than Edge in my opinion. He's basically your biggest essential as far as strength goes. Bacchus. He's got high stats and is the third most important strength-based character. He can hit from a distance too, which is beneficial. Though I love Symbologist, for my dream team, I opted out of keeping more than one on the field. The brute strength seems to do more damage than the symbological spells. Bacchus can be exchanged for Limmel if you're wanting a solid Symbologist on the field for attacking rather than healing, but be aware that all Symbologists have lower defense and HP than all the other characters I listed for my team. For most Symbologists, there is a skill you can give them called Hide. It makes it so, when activated, the enemies are way less likely to target you, so it's something to consider in your tactics. My final comments and opinions on this game. I'd play it again in a heartbeat. The compelling story, great voice acting, beautiful graphics, and customization are everything you'd want in a JRPG. It has its flaws and annoying tendencies, but it's easy to overlook. My favorite Star Ocean game remains the third one, but it may be for more nostalgic reasons. This game will now always hold a place in my heart. It's an emotional roller coaster, but worth every moment of tears, anger, and screaming at the TV. I spent way too much time on this game, and I don't even want to say how few days it took me to beat it since I got so wrapped up. If I could all around rate this game as a whole, I'd give it 8.5 out of 10. If you're interested in the Star Ocean franchise, I do recommend this game, but only if you're emotionally ready. If you want to ease yourself into the games, try the third game first. It's on the PS2 and is sold in local stores, whereas this game I had to order online for a hefty price. The second game is also sold in stores. I do recommend that one as well, but the graphics are so vastly different that I'm not sure how good of a first impression that game would be. As I said, none of the games need to be played in order, so choose which one calls out to you most and set sail across the Star Ocean. I hope you all enjoyed watching my lengthy first review of a video game. I appreciate all of you that are still watching till the very end. Let me know if you'd like to see me do more of these.